mean, the key thing is you just got to get in and start clicking buttons, y'all. Just start clicking the buttons. The difference between people in clicking the buttons and the people not clicking the buttons are it's so massive right now. I mean, you're all button clickers, so I'm speaking to the choir, but. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night to those crazy enough tuning in from around the world. Episode 15, Internet Explorers, the hottest weekly show on the internet. I mean, this has just been so much fun. Hello, welcome energy and crypto again. I mean, even since we've been here last week, it's just continued to grow. There are these pockets of the world out there that are emerging with a ton of builder excitement and energy. And I don't know. I feel like what's the point of being in crypto if it doesn't feel like you're completely behind at every single moment of the day and that you can't barely keep up with all the things. And I feel like that is the world we're in today. So I think that's bullish.
We're back to my brain feeling like swollen at the end of the day.
Yeah, the FOMO is back.
The FOMO is back. It's all back.
Swollen brains, smooth brains, swollen brains. I like it. All right, we got a great show today. We've got Joey here from Backdrop, who's got a whole lot to share with us, new things that you can go do with them, some exciting opportunities there. We're going to be joined by the Party crew. They're announcing a new thing this week, today, I think. That's going to be super exciting. There's a lot of really great thought pieces going around. I think we're starting to see some of the emerging trends and narratives pop up. Jesse's post on Headless Marketplaces is going to be super exciting. But before we jump in, again, if you're listening to this over on LinkedIn or Twitter or I don't know where else, soon you're probably doing it on Warpcast, come hang out with us at live.seedclub.xyz. It's where the chat exists and you can make fun and bug us and chirp each other and etc. So come do that. Also want to let everybody know that we worked with our friends over at Zora to bring all of the previous episodes, the videos, the live streams up onto Zora just as of today. So I think you might want to click the link that I sent to you, Peace. So all the past episodes are there we go. No, click the link I said it. Basically, they're all mintable today. We're going to be sharing them, across the internet soon, so you can be early if you mint them here. The idea is that Seed Club's an on-chain brand, and I think actually D from Zora posted a wonderful image with how to begin building your brand on-chain, and one of the pieces that I think was the best bit of insight from there was this idea of not being precious. I think we've had this world where a lot of people were building and launching NFTs with the idea of scarcity being built in, but I think that's a very wrong approach. I think our approach here is really just to create multiple touch points, to put as much of what we create on chain so that you can go and collect and mint and the things that you're interested in. And sort of I think we're seeing minting as a way of demonstrating your attention and interest in things. All of that gets written on chain. There's an incredible amount of data that gets created from that. There's just a lot of fun things we can do with that in the future. So attention is the game that we're all playing. Minting is one of the ways to represent your attention at a moment in time. And so we're going to continue to put all the media and really just the big path ahead is thinking about how we can bring more and more of all the sort of informal things that happen in and around the world of Seed Club and have those represented on chain. And we have a big plan to do that this year. So it's a small step in that direction, and a big thanks to the Zora team for helping us get this whole back catalog up rather effortlessly. And I hope you go mint some.
It's funny. It's funny how much we've moved beyond the idea of like token gating content or like content scarcity to just the realization that like actually the value of these things is in the attention and how widely they propagate. And we're just kind of like, Zora, I think is leading the charge on. They've realized that for years, but I think the rest of us are coming around.
Jacob has been saying that for a long time. So,
all right.
Yeah, I think it's right. So, all right, we've got a lot to get into today. We've got to say welcome to Peace as well. How you doing, Peace? Our internet VJ. What's new?
Extremely good. Nothing's new. Well, I mean, it's new every day, right? There's a bunch of this whole episode is literally about new things. So
okay,
let's get into
it. Nothing is new.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So we got Joey here with us. Joey, I think maybe before you talk about I think 500 builders, which was maybe 200 builders, which before that was 100 builders. You started off building like a DAO, kind of like the DAO operator wallet to kind of this like professional connections product to then like getting into this more kind of cohort based approach where you're just trying to like aggregate a bunch of, builder energy and, create a bunch of value around that. So maybe do you want to kind of just give like the quick story of that journey before we get into what you're actually building right now?
Yeah, I mean, anytime someone asks me to give the quick version of that story, like a small, shiver of fear and goes down my spine, but I'll try my best to give the story. I mean, I think like the meta for us has just been, we've always been really interested in helping people build weird new stuff on the internet, and I think we've been evolving our view of how to do that best as the world evolves around us. I think in 2020, we, like a lot of people, were really interested in people building, on-chain organizations where managed, via a token with DAOs basically. And we, thought that was the best leverage for us to help people go build some radically different kinds of companies. And I think some things that were right about what we were thinking and some things were totally wrong that I think the market also found out over time. And so we kind of pivoted around and eventually found our way to, more like a network, and then found our way from that network to, I think, this model that we have now where we run these kind of programs at specific moments in time. And I think, we're talking a lot about attention, and it's no secret that oftentimes it is about kind of condensing a lot of energy into a small moment and the kind of magic that you can create around that. And that's what we've found as well. So, for us, a lot of it feels the same. I think, when I tell my parents like what I'm doing, it's like feels to them like an entirely different company every 6 months. But I think that's just like that's the name of the startup game.
Yeah, love it. So I guess give us the quick pitch on what 500 Builders is. Like who's it targeting? How does it create value?
Yeah, we renamed it to just Backdrop Build. Even though it was cool to like increment the number every time, at a certain point, like the branding consultant in me is like, it's probably a bad idea. You probably have one name for this thing. So it was 100 builders. Then we changed it to Build. Actually, I think we'll probably have a couple thousand builders in it this time. So, the name no longer tells you how big it is, which is maybe sad because it's really, really big. But we take people, from idea or from the beginnings of a product to a launch. So we really want at the end of the program for everyone to have a product that is live in the hands of real people using it, giving them feedback. There's so many things that go into doing that. Many of them emotional, many of them technical. And one of the other things that we do is we try to just connect builders with the best companies out there, the people that are creating the infrastructure that helps these weird, amazing new products come to life. And so a lot of the work that we are doing under the hood is just matching builders to companies and helping that support flow, because we think there's just like a massive amount of kind of like opportunity in these companies that have the resources, the expertise, the money to go out and support builders. And it's just not easy on the builder side to actually like find those opportunities, get the support, get the money, et cetera. So you can almost think of Build in some ways like a marketplace. It's like we are just getting a ton of amazing builders in there. We're a ton of amazing companies, and we're stirring the pot and like helping some stuff flow.
Yeah, I love how sort of simple the insight I think that you're building from here, which is like if you focus attention and energy and like on a specific point, this idea of launching something that is incredibly beneficial, both from specifically from a builder perspective, right? Like this, we have all these reasons why we don't go do things. There's always another sort of draw on our attention, and being a part of a thing and sort of making that step to commit to something is just so powerful. And then to be amongst a community of other people that are doing the same thing, I think is what really can help people get beyond maybe some of that imposter syndrome or the doubts that are in their heads. You can see some external signals and validation, that recognition that, you kind of need to show up with a thing at a specific date. I think is just so powerful. And I mean, it's wild to see the growth, a couple thousand people here, especially when we were talking maybe 6 months ago, I think is much larger than I think you were thinking it was going to get to this quickly. So
yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
And I've had a chance to talk to a lot of builders who've been through it, and I think even some on our team have gone through it and see a ton of value in it. So if you're sort of, and I also think there's just like a magic moment right now. Like we don't have sort of adoption of new platforms come around every year, or every month. And right now, I think there's this sense of new opportunities in the consumer crypto space, new opportunities in AI, new opportunities in the intersection there. And there's, a lot of resources going towards and incentives and outcomes that companies are trying to drive towards that I think really create a dynamic for builders to go build some things that are cool and ultimately that might turn into big opportunities. So it's an obvious thing to do if you are in the builder category out there. And excited to see what comes out.
We're big believers in the what if, and just what if you ship it. And I think it's kind of like right now, it's that IQ meme where like the middle of the meme is people being like, oh my God, there's so much going on. There's Farcaster popping off. There's all these other things that are happening. There's like whatever, all this stuff is changing the landscape. And just like the, smooth brain, high IQ thing, it's just like, go ship something. These days, you can do crazy things over a weekend in a week. I mean, talk about 4 weeks. We have people build multiple products in the program. They're like, build one, that one isn't right. Build another one. And you do it in a group of people that are also like building stuff amongst companies that are helping you out. Like it is, it's the right thing to do. It is just the objectively right thing to do as a builder is to just go build stuff. And, now is a great time to do it. Months ago was a great time to do it. Months from the future will be a great time to do it. That is just always the right answer.
Yeah, I think the power of just having like one person that is using your thing and tells you it's good is like so valuable as a builder versus just staying in your head being like, am I going to ship this? Am I not going to ship this? Having one person that you like feel some accountability to, and if one person can like it, why not a million, right? And I think that's the power of this. So and it's not entirely crypto focused, right? You can be building it's like kind of frontier tech focus. That's right.
Yeah, we are like covering frontier tech for multiple reasons. One of which is that increasingly, I think this is not a secret, but there's just so much cross pollination that's going on out there. There's so many, crypto AI projects. There's so many open source crypto AI projects. So I think, again, we'll have about 30 companies working with us when all said is done. And each one of those companies is actively monitoring, supporting, projects. They all have grants or, prizes available. And so it is just to our benefit, to builders' benefits, to make this thing more broad than just crypto. And so we get to work with, Base and Privy and Ceramic and Near, but also like Stability AI and, Convex and like the stuff that builders are using on the back end and all these and AWS. So it's like, there is just, it's, we can think about crypto as a vertical, but I mean, as builders, like it's so much more than that. And so, we try to cover all the coolest companies that builders want to use. That's the way to think about it. And that means like a lot of different things.
So when are applications closed? When does it start? Where should people go?
Applications, it starts in 2 weeks from Monday. So there's
good luck.
Still time. So you can apply anytime up to there. We have some some pretty spicy announcements coming up also next week as well. So we are going to be doing some, it feels crazy to have thousands of people in this program already. So I guess we're just increasing the amount of stress that I'm going to feel before it launches, but we have some pretty big updates next week as well. So, but get your applications in. It takes like 5 minutes to apply. There really is very few good reasons not to do it. And we'd love to have you.
Amazing. Well, I look forward to the impending stress cycle that you'll be going into. I think it's always well worth it, and you manage it so well.
We're in the middle of it too, Joey. So we can have a therapy session after.
Always a good,
we do.
session is important.
Amazing. Well, great to have you here, Joey. I wish you the best of luck and encourage everybody to go jump in and go build with Backdrop.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
See you, man.
Peace.
That's a great reminder, Josh. We are in the middle and coming up to the end of applications for SEO 7, a thing I've been talking about forever on the internet and beyond for the last couple of weeks. But if you're sitting on the fence thinking about building something in the consumer crypto space, get your application in. It's the seedclub.xyz.
They're rolling in. I opened up the Airtable yesterday and I thought I was going to have just like a casual look through, and I was like, oh, there's
people seem to we like to wait to the last minute, and I would just like to encourage everybody to not wait till the last minute. Get those applications in early before it is absolutely flooded. We were talking to builders on a rolling basis, and I've had a number of really exciting conversations so far, and we'll be leaning into the full sort of I guess interview process in the coming weeks. So I'd love for you to hop in there and drop your application. It's gonna be a good one, Josh.
Oh, I'm so stoked, honestly.
Oh, we like a nice brick background.
What up, Danny?
Danny, you're on. You're up, buddy. How we doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I in?
You're in.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Internet Explorers.
Good to be here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. No, we're really excited to hear about what you're building. I think have very high level context, but like truly, I think don't know much about what this product actually looks like. So excited to get into it. But yeah, maybe before, do you want to just kind of like, how I prompted Joey with this too, but PartyDAO also has a pretty interesting story. So do you want to give kind of like the quick synopsis of how you came from PartyDAO and created hats like that to?
I mean, look at how this is memorabilia from a time gone past. Look at this.
Yeah. So that time to the kind of like the group purchasing the group wallet to the what now is a meaningfully different product that you're releasing.
Yeah, sure. Thanks again for having me. So PartyDAO, we're focused on creating like group coordination products, both at the protocol level and the application level. And like the first release that we did was called PartyBid, and it was a very opinionated approach to that. It was essentially a group of people could form a group, put money into a smart contract, and that smart contract was like targeted specifically at buying like a single NFT. So it was like group buying of NFTs. And that was around at a time where like the meta was like these kind of like auctions. We then expanded to being able to buy across like any marketplace. And last year we released in June of 2023, released a product called Party.app, which was an expansion of that. Basically form a group on chain with like a shared group wallet, a whole governance framework around it, to really do anything on chain. So buying and selling NFTs, but also man, Jess, where are you finding the old set? Look what you're digging up here. Nice.
This is awesome.
This is Peacenode navigating here, so he's the expert. Yeah,
well done. Shit.
It's cool that this stuff is still up. It looks awesome in all of your eras. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Party.app product was more around like what does it look like to have like a generalized group wallet. So a group of people could come together on chain, have this shared account together, have all like the on-chain logic around how to make decisions together, and do anything. Like they could swap tokens, create NFTs together, pull ETH together and do like simple grants. So really kind of like broaden the design space of what people could do on chain. And part of that was motivated by just like what we were hearing from users. So like the Party Bid product was like, what was nice about it was like, it was so opinionated. It was like very easy to reason about. It's like, okay, I want to go buy this NFT. I want to go do it with some other people. Maybe I can't afford it myself. So we're going to go buy that together. Then there are all these kind of like social externalities to that, like people like forming Discord servers around, the NFT that they had bought together. And out of that, people are like, well, I want to do other things as a group. They're like, there's other things we want to do with Party Bid. How can we go do that? And Party.app was our response to that. What we've just released like 15, 20 minutes ago is a new product from PartyDAO called Party Rooms. So general high level on Party Rooms is every room has a group chat and a wallet, and you can create a room for any topic that brings people together. So your favorite hobby, a project, or the latest meme. And the room memberships are NFTs that are issued on a bonding curve. So you can join and leave a room just by buying and selling the memberships on that bonding curve at any time. And so the interesting component of this is that like 10% of every buy and sell of those memberships goes into the Rooms wallet. That's almost like you can think about it as like a DAO treasury. So that ETH is then controlled by all the Room members, where one membership is one vote. So members can then go use that ETH to fund ideas, like basically like keep the fun going, like actually like go do things together out in the world. And then what they can actually do, like they can do anything that a normal EOA like wallet can do. So again, you could like transfer ETH to give simple grants. You could swap ERC20 tokens. You can buy and sell NFTs. You could create NFTs together. You can go use like other Web3 apps just via Wallet Connect. Like you can Wallet Connect into any app using Party Rooms as well. So that's kind of like the new product for release, and really trying to create like a new reason to bootstrap these groups on chain.
Very cool. I'm curious what was kind of the either initial insight or thing you learned from Party App that pushed you in this direction. Did you just like recognize that people wanted to do more than kind of like this initial reason they came together? Did you kind of see the, I don't know, speculative frenzy around friend tech and see that there was something interesting in core there but wasn't quite implemented properly, and you thought you could? Like what was the thing that got you to build Rooms?
There was probably a couple of lessons. One was just in terms of how groups actually start. We wanted to experiment with that. And by the way, the Rooms URL is like rooms.party.app. You can see kind of like the latest there. So a couple lessons that informed this product. One was just how these groups form. Typically, when people are starting a party, they thought about it like starting a DAO, and that meant like what am I tried to like crowdfund for and bring people together around, and it had to have kind of like this mission. We were trying to think about more kind of like casual ways for people to start a group on chain, and so doing something that was like maybe a bit more affinity based around like a topic, an interest, a hobby, a meme. Versus being explicitly like we are trying to do something like have like a very, very specific goal. The other piece was the actual mechanics of how you would start a party sort of followed like the ergonomics of a mint. Like you would say like, hey, like you buy a membership for this price, and that price either it's like a timed open edition that's open for a couple days or a week, or it's got like a limited supply. And one question from users was like, hey, like how can I just start a party and have it always be open, always being able to have people join and leave? And so the bonding curve aspect actually allows people to do that. Like now, like people can join and leave a party whenever they want to. So those were some of the things we were trying to do. But I mean, at the highest level, like the big question for us was like, what if your group chat could actually like do things on chain via that shared wallet? And we see a lot of behaviors maybe around like social coordinations around consumer crypto. But what if something that was like there was the actual like shared account that allowed them to do something economically together versus in parallel in their own EOAs?
I got a question for you. Are memberships transferable?
They are.
Nice. Okay, so I can send this to some buddies.
Exactly. You can start a room, you can buy some memberships, and you can send those memberships to other people. So memberships are NFTs, like pure 721s.
Beautiful. That's sick.
And how much of the sort of the original product, like the further sort of engagement of the DAO-y like protocol from the previous product is accessible by these rooms? Like, are we able to go and have that sort of full on-chain engagement that we would have had through creating a party before, or is it more limited? Yeah,
good question. So this is all built on the party protocol. So all the kind of DAO-like capabilities that are available in Party.app are available here in Rooms. And this kind of like looks like a very different effort. And I do think like users are like reason about how to join these parties very differently. But this is all built on the existing party protocol, and kind of demonstrates just like the flexibility of like what a developer can do using some of those primitives.
Nice, Danny. Are there some like core use cases you're excited about that you think this unlocks that don't have a home right now?
What I mentioned earlier, just around like a more casual way to start a DAO, like to start a group on chain, something that like begins as more affinity based, where you might start a topic like consumer crypto, and you might join that room, join that party because you're interested in that topic, or you're interested in maybe other people who are part of that as well. And then you can engage in the chat. You also might get like entertainment from just seeing like the dynamics of like the membership prices and so on. But even after all of that, what you have like further downstream is now your wallet has ETH, and the group can be in the chat and like say, hey, like we've got funds now. Like let's go do something. Let's go like make something happen. Let's sponsor someone to go build a consumer app. Or one of the rooms I'm excited about is from Small Brain Games. Started an on-chain gaming room, and they're going to be, sharing tips, skills about like how to build an on-chain game, and what they could eventually do is actually like sponsor a game to be built that would generate like more interest for people to join the room, and they could do more projects from there. So I think we're sort of interested in, from a use case perspective, of like this kind of journey for the group to start as something like that maybe starts socially and like just by affinity, and then ends up being something that has like economic impact in terms of being able to like actually do things together.
Yeah, it's pretty clear to me that the social and attention layer around the sort of the DAO narrative is the most exciting one, I think, and like the most compelling, I think, to more users. Or so being able to kind of like stack those things together, I think it's why we're seeing so much excitement in Farcaster right now, is that there's this sense of sort of social primitive, and then applications or experiences that are probably thin right now just through the current integrations of frames, but seeing a lot of people pull on similar threads where you want to create this pathway for people to participate, engage, do it in a way that feels a lot safer than just aping the latest meme coin. And I think the thing that actually leads to the long-term interest in these things is when they can start to go do cool things together. So it sounds like you got a lot of those primitives coming together in an exciting way here.
Yeah, I mean, one framing of this is that like you go back like 20, 30 years, like making a website in 1998 was rough. Like it maybe took you months. You were rolling everything out yourself in terms of like content management, maybe you like wrote your own database, ran your own server, like all these things. And I think the big moment that changed that what wasn't just like blogging or traditional forms of web publishing, but like actually like social media, like a very constrained way to post onto the internet, and a lot of like complexity coming out of those simple constraints in terms of how people could interact with those posts, like liking and retweeting and everything else. And so we're somewhere in like the 90s moment, right? This is like maybe a tired analogy, like talk about like crypto like in the 90s, but like we're somewhere in the 90s moment for DAOs, right? Where it's like it feels pretty complicated to set up. In fact, like still today, like the most common way a DAO might be set up is someone's going to like use the Open Zeppelin library for like Governor Bravo and start a DAO that way, which requires you to like deploy a whole new smart contract, wire up a front end to it. I mean that is work and could potentially take months of time from a few devs. Here it's you just created one, like while we've been streaming, and like while I've been talking, this took like two minutes to actually set this up. And again, it's got some constraints to it, but within those constraints, we think there's like a pretty wide design space of what people can do. So I think there's maybe a couple of things going on here, like one, just like trying to find that like unique combination of like crypto native primitives, bonding curves, and like AMM pools, NFTs for memberships, like token gated chat, which we've seen in a lot of in crypto, this kind of like group wallet, like a multi-sig or DAOs, and putting that together in the right way to create like what can be a unique social and economic experience. And then that potentially becoming mainstream. I mean, to your point about Farcaster, right? Like with frames, like people are having this like aha moment, and there's this like excitement and momentum over the past 2 weeks about that. And there's definitely that type of potential for just like DAOs and on-chain groups, like given the right tooling. So I think that's like part of what we see here is just like making these on-chain groups, making DAOs like a much more mainstream behavior versus being thought of as a like bureaucratic heavy thing where you're like managing a protocol DAO. What if it's like a much more social experience?
Yeah, I love it. Like DAOs, but make it less, like more social, less serious, more fun. I think with
still the potential to become like meaningful, meaning like you start from this like very simple place, and then over time, like you land in this area where you've got kind of like all this like richness and complexity in terms of like large groups of people doing things together on chain.
Yeah, but I think to your point, like a big realization we had working with a ton of DAOs is that the people that were showing up to be a part of them didn't want to work, right? They didn't want to be a part of a thing that felt like a company. They wanted to be a part of a social experience and a social experiment, and be a part of some like mission with people that have like shared visions. And yeah, I think you're running at that in an interesting way. And I think the like treasury formation as just kind of like trading emissions is also super interesting, because I feel like when you do a crowd fund, have a treasury, and you have this very like serious specific purpose to do with it, we found that DAOs were very hesitant to even deploy it and spend it. But if it's kind of this just like growing thing through trading fees, you come together for like just social kind of meme purposes, hopefully we see much more active just like deploying of the treasury for group fund.
So we've just spun up a group. We saw Peace do that live here, which obviously is a very easy thing to do, which I think is kudos to you guys for building it in such an accessible way. We're going to tie this consumer crypto room into the consumer crypto Farcaster channel that we have on Farcaster. So if you're sitting here with us listening in, you're early, come hang out with us there. Who knows what we'll end up doing with it, but I think it's a fun primitive for us to play with, and I think could lead to some interesting outcomes. So we dropped that in the chat. Another reason why you want to come hang out with us live at seedclub.xyz before we go put it out into the public channels. Super interesting. I think we're going to see a bunch of energy around this over the next little while, and I think it's going to be surprising to see what types of things ultimately come out from it, which is, it's my favorite part of all this stuff.
Yeah, we're excited as well, and let us know if you have any feedback as the consumer crypto room comes together.
It was awesome. I can't believe how painless it is. It's so cool. I'm on OpenSea sending out all my buddies' tokens to get in the room now. It's a super cool thing. Thanks for coming on and showing us this thing.
We're here to remove pain.
Yeah.
Thanks, Danny.
Awesome. Enjoy the day. Congrats.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just have deep conviction that coming at it from an entertainment point of view is the right way to come at a lot of the stuff. And I think, with like the surprising outcomes that can emerge from what happens when you have the attention and social context and some ETH to go do cool things on the internet with. So
I love that. I just like the perpetual like experimentation and like repackaging of things that are like clearly interesting, like bonding curves, token gated chats, treasuries, fees. Friendtech got some of it right, a lot of it wrong. This is kind of another iteration of that. Like there's clearly something there that's going to stick and hit.
And we're just seeing a ton of experimentation in this too, even just through some of the early conversations we've had. Very eager to see what Friendtech does next. We've heard that they're pushing towards a next version. I mean, I think that
look at this. This is popping off.
So many cursors. All right, we got people rolling in. Yeah, we'll see. We'll do something interesting with it for a little while, at the very least. Free Wi-Fi. I think there's also this trend. I think next week we're gonna have Brian from Boost.xyz, formerly Rabbit Hole, and an interesting part of their platform, right, where you're sort of incentivized to do transactions. It's sort of a way for protocols to grow user bases and distribute tokens in a maybe more effective way than airdrops. But what they've done is sort of there's a fee that exists there, and the revenue that gets generated, the vast majority gets put into a pool of capital that then the Rabbit Hole, or I guess now Boost, folks, like community members, get to go spend. So this idea of like a protocol reward being distributed to a community pool, and then the community having governance over that, versus the idea of having governance over the entity that is doing the product development and doing the hard work of trying to figure out how to go build the product, I think is really interesting and allows for teams to be focused on the things they need to be focused on, while also creating a much more open pathway for people to participate in the allocation of the capital that's being generated from their actions on chain. So I think Party's another great example of that here.
Yeah, totally. And I like the idea of somehow figuring out the connection between this and the Warpcast channel. It feels like, Warpcast channel, kind of this big top of funnel broadcast. This is maybe kind of like a cozier Twitter place to do some stuff. I think there's probably an interesting dynamic there.
Agreed. I mean, the key thing is you just got to get in and start clicking buttons, y'all. Just start clicking the buttons. The difference between people in clicking the buttons and the people not clicking the buttons are it's so massive right now. I mean, you're all button clickers, so I'm speaking to the choir, but
yeah.
All right. Let's get into this. There's somehow more new stuff to get into.
There's new stuff. All right, let me flip the thing. Or Pete, are you flipping the things today?
Yeah. Well, I found my way there.
All right, you're flipping for me. Nice. So ERC404 was kind of like all over my feeds, I guess, and Telegram channels. You guys too? I've kind of okay, nice. I don't know what kind of like weird segmentation I've done with my Telegram channels and Twitter accounts, but glad to hear that you guys also are seeing a ton of this. But yeah, basically,
I haven't. I have no idea what 404 is. I got to be honest.
Okay,
I want
cool.
to act like I'm smart here, but I don't.
No, it's good because like I feel like I've gone down like I've taken like a weird direction with the stuff I've been like subscribing to and following recently. So I'm glad to hear that I'm seeing different stuff from you.
You're in a dangerous neighborhood.
I am in a dangerous neighborhood. This is I'm in a very experimental, weird neighborhood. But yeah, so ERC404s. So they're basically this emerging token standard that has gone really crazy over the last week with experimentation and speculation since it first showed up. And basically the core idea of it is as a hybrid ERC20, ERC721 implementation that, it introduces like native liquidity and fractionalization to NFTs. So basically like how it works is that, let's assume you have maybe like a 10,000 NFT collection size. There are also 10,000 fungible tokens and 10,000 replicant NFTs that are basically connected. And, these NFTs can be traded. The fungible tokens can be traded on DEX like Uniswap. The NFTs can be traded on marketplaces like Blur, but the tokens like follow each other. So if you sell the token, the NFT gets burned. If you sell the NFT, the token gets transferred along with it. If you go buy more than one token on Uniswap, or you buy one fungible token on Uniswap, an NFT gets minted from the contract and automatically sent to you. If you buy like half a token, you don't get an NFT. If you buy like 1.5, you get an NFT and have 1.5 tokens. So it's kind of this like really interesting. So you get kind of like both the like speculative and liquidity superpowers of ERC20s and kind of the cultural, artistic, visual value of NFTs. So like, in the past, you could do this with NFT fractionalization protocols, like, NFT perp. There was a ton of those that popped up. Those were always just kind of clunky, and there was staking, and, then there were tokens, and you didn't know how they kind of related to the NFTs, and there's just a bunch of kind of like messy dynamics in there. And then, we also had kind of like the burn to redeem mechanisms like Unisocks. But again, there's kind of this like distinct, there's a token, then you have to go to a place, you have to go burn it, then you have an NFT. And it's like, what do you do with that? How does that relate back to this other token? So I think it's kind of an interesting, like simple iteration off of those core ideas. And so yeah,
Pandora. No, describe this. I mean, I guess it's simple compared to the rest.
Well, from the user perspective, right? It's like you can go to Uniswap and buy this if you want. You can go if you're more interested in the like in interacting through the NFT, you can go to OpenSea and do that. But they just like it, you having the fungible token, you having the NFT, just kind of all works. So it kind of has this like insane origin story, which I can link to, but basically some like dev hacked this together with using ChatGPT, and it was like really shitty contracts and got exploited. And then people realized that, this is actually a pretty interesting, cool idea, and built like a proper implementation on it. And I think Pandora was the first one. And if you pull up the chart, like it's just been going bananas this week. Now there are kind of a ton of, that was the thread with that kind of M&M guy. Tons of copycats popping out now, but yeah, a ton of energy around it. And I don't know, I think it's something worth paying attention to.
Yeah, so it's not an official token standard. I think they said it's an unofficial.
So it's experiment. So yeah, it's like a week old. I think, I imagine they'll.
Interesting.
I don't even know how that what process you have to go to for it to become an official standard. Obviously, like audits and stuff. It's very experimental at this stage, but I think the idea is pretty cool, and it's pretty different than other like fractionalization or like bringing liquidity to NFT attempts that I've seen in the past.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it gets implemented, like the context it gets implemented. Because I could see, like the simplicity of owning an NFT or owning an ERC20 is that you kind of have a sense of what you own. Like there isn't like multiple layers of a game being played there necessarily. And I think one of the complicating factors of fractionalization was sort of like this, new types of liquidity and new types of thinking you have to have there. So my guess is you would get a lot of attention around this first implementation, and then somebody's going to wrap it together in a more thoughtful product experience if it's going to take off further from here.
Yeah, I think it reminds me a bit of Neelastics, or you could get kind of the Neelastics impact if you release a generative art project using this, because you can actually just buy the token, sell it, NFT gets burned, and buy it back if you wanted to get a new NFT. So you kind of get this interesting, you can both speculating is more accessible because you can just buy any number of tokens you want, but then you can also kind of burn and redeem until you got a generative art piece that you liked if you wanted to. I think I was imagining releasing Memecoins this way, where there's like generative visual representations of the memes accompanying the tokens, and the community could like constantly just iterate on kind of like the layers that are used to like create the memes that get minted alongside the tokens, which could be kind of cool. Or like some like PFP implementation, like a 40 ETH PFP right now having this mechanic would make it like much more accessible for people to join the community and kind of get price exposure to it. So yeah, who knows?
Trying to remember what this reminds me of, and I see Soren in the chat mentioning Verse, which I think was,
Kieran's thing, right?
Yeah. So it's super interesting. Oh man, I love that we're back in this part of the cycle where people are doing new and interesting things rather than just trying to copy what worked before. Ooh,
is it not socks though? Also.
Yeah, Unisocks is like it, but it's again like token. You can burn the token into the bond or sell the token into. You can buy and sell the token into the bonding curve and then redeem that for socks if you wanted to.
Gotcha.
And then you can light the socks on fire if you're.
And then you can burn them.
Yeah.
And then I love this. LoveGreg.eth asking, how do you think it plays with or doesn't with 6551? Which I think it just works, right? Because these just work like a wallet. It looks like you could have both NFTs and a token in there. So I think it should.
Yeah, it seems like they're going after different utility here. 6551 is about NFTs being exactly wallets being able to own other assets, and it sounds like 404 is about kind of creating two directly related assets, one fungible, one non-fungible, and I'm sure those could integrate interestingly together.
Yeah. So they're, I don't know, if you read the article, I link piece I think you just opened up, it's on Blockmates. They list like 20 other top copycats that are happening. I think anytime there's a new narrative or token standard, the speculative activity that happens and kind of the gold rush to it and the experimentation that drives is crazy. And even just seeing what's happened over the last week is wild. So recommend
put it in a frame.
Put it in a frame. Right. It's probably in a frame.
Alrighty.
Yeah, nice. Let's jump over to so the meme coin opportunity. So I wrote a mini post this week, I think highlighting that highlight
is fuck this idiot. We're gonna run at this idea and run with it properly. And
so you should actually read that thread. It's pretty funny. Actually, there's a great quote in that thread. Hang on, I wrote it here somewhere. The dev that wrote that created the ERC404 protocol called it. What did he call it? One sec, I'll find it. Oh yeah. They called it an NFT shitcoin friend tech key abomination with persistent liquidity. It was like, all right, here we go.
Appropriate.
Oh,
yeah. So,
alrighty.
Quick transition to meme coin opportunities. So wrote a quick post this week, really just highlighting the like discrepancy between how much energy and attention and like clear product market fit meme coins have, and how little has actually been developed on top of them. So I think just, I'm very confident we're moving to this world, which I mentioned in the post, where like meme coins are just kind of ubiquitous in this core part of our internet culture. And there's just so much opportunity to like increase the accessibility of them. These are products of attention, and the more accessibility means more attention, means, more fun, means more games you can play and stuff you can build on top of that. I think we're just like, we've barely even scratched the surface there. People are still piecing together this janky stack of products to actually experience them.
Meme coins today look like meme coins did over the last 4 years, right? It's the exact same playbook. The activity that's happening on base right now is the exact same playbook. It just happens to be being done in maybe a different social context on something like a Farcaster or on a Bird Eye or whatever. So
I think just want to call out a few. So I guess like I don't know, I like seriously think about meme coins, or like taking them serious. I think a lot of people like just kind of thinking they're like stupid crypto degen things that are just never going to go anywhere. I very much disagree. And there were two announcements this week that I think just indicate how seriously other people are taking them. So one was so Mechanism Capital announced they took positions in a bunch of Trump related meme coins, but actually just wrote this like thesis post on why that just looks very much like an investment memo, right? And I think an amazing thing they did at the bottom there was for the project roadmap, they just dropped the like schedule of the primaries. So it's much more of like it's like it's an attention roadmap, right? Like not a dev roadmap that ultimately matters in meme coins. But anyways, I think worth reading just to see how like seriously they're thinking about this, and make a lot of good points for why Trump meme coins are going to get a lot of attention over the next year. And then I think another version of this is Nick Tomeno from Unconfirmation buying $1 million of degen, and I think even more crazily on a 2-year lockup, buying meme coins on a lockup. I've never heard that before. So just like a huge vote of confidence for pretty new meme coin, but degen continues to be this massive rallying point for a Farcaster ecosystem that's just popping off right now. So I think
who did this?
One Confirmation,
Wow.
Nick Tomeno, so I think just looked a bit more at degen. I think the tip mechanism that they're executing right now, where Farcasters users have a daily allotment of tips to tip to casts that are whatever they like, really, but are kind of promoting the like this degen token culture. I think is really cool. And Titles also is kind of doing something similar now. They've partnered with, I think, Base and Own the Doge, and trained a Doge specific model, and anyone that goes and creates Doge memes using it is eligible to get some Doge airdrop. I think based on collections. There's a few different criteria that they're using to actually distribute that. But anyways, like I think we're starting to hit the point where like people are realizing that these are real, they're here to stay, and there's a ton of opportunity to build on top of them.
Love it. Take meme coin seriously. It's the Josh mantra for 2024. That's the Josh mantra.
It is. All right, cool. Headless Marketplaces. So Jesse, he dropped this post, I think last week, about Headless Marketplaces. He also joined I think he was on a podcast this week, which is where I listened to it and actually bumped into it. But I think it just like finally puts a good name to a crypto business category that's existed for years. So the core idea is that you can now build marketplaces that, what he says, distribute locally to where users already are, instead of having to attract people to a destination like you did in Web2, right? Like Airbnb, eBay. The only way to actually get exposure to that marketplace and the supply and demand and liquidity they have is to go there. Whereas with Uniswap and with these protocol based like headless marketplaces, as Jesse called, they can get distributed through wallets. They can now get distributed through Farcaster, and the experience of actually distributing those now using frames is getting much more interesting. So I think there's just like a really, I think, new, fresh opportunity to build more socially inclined marketplaces. I think we saw a lot of financial ones be built in the last couple of years, but now that we have Farcaster and frames and this increasingly rich like social scene and context there, I think the opportunity is huge to go build.
This all needs to be built on like open platforms or social platforms that are open. And I think we saw a lot of energy over the last couple of months in like the Telegram trading bots, and I think BonkBot was one we've talked about in the past. And so again, like a platform that has a lot of users. There's the ability to go build on top of it, and an effortless way to sort of share it amongst other people. I think we're sort of walking into a world now where there's a critical mass of people who are using these tools, and being able to bring in these financial primitives or mechanisms into it, I think are just going to be a big trend for the next little while. Jesse's always so great at defining terms, the ownership economy and headless marketplaces are, I think, just wonderful terms to help give an understanding and language to people building in around this. I think Bounty Caster or Bounty Bot on Farcaster is one that he mentioned, this idea of, again, originating sort of like the marketplace, the transaction happening and sort of one level, but then it being distributed across all the different social channels that you might participate in, including those that are not open. I think that is interesting. And as we have more and more people using these open platforms, I think we're going to see more compelling reasons to go build these types of things, and already seeing a lot of people experimenting at the edges around it.
Yeah, I think marketplaces are inherently network effect dominated businesses, and once one has a hold on a category, it's very, very hard to dethrone them. So if you're thinking of something here, like now is the time to jump on it, because I think what we're seeing in Farcaster, we've been constantly just urging people to get on Farcaster and start building there, because it's hit a tipping point. There's a great kind of like reshuffling of status and opportunity happening there right now, and I think the earlier you kind of start jumping in there and acting on it, the better. Cool. So yeah, good piece. I think Bounty Caster, Ponder's another one that's worth looking at, kind of like a survey marketplace. Pearl's like a prediction marketplace being built there. So lots of emerging examples. Here we go. So Crypto the Game final day. So finals today, I think Dylan built an incredible experience, but was just reflecting on I think my experience with it yesterday, and I think my ultimate big takeaway from it was just confirmation of the opportunity to serve the culture of crypto without necessarily needing to deeply integrate or leverage the tech. Like it was a very crypto native experience that was mostly off chain. And I tweeted more about this yesterday, but I think like really what they needed more than decentralized infrastructure was very online, affluent, interest aligned people to create the social fabric of this game, and crypto is just like the perfect scene for that. So I think generally this is just kind of an underappreciated reason to build products in crypto and be completely focused on serving crypto natives as an initial targeted audience. I think pretty often people get hung up on all the potential ways they can use the tech, but really like the culture we have here is one of our most valuable assets.
I mean, it was funny to see the pushback on it. It's not crypto. Obviously, there was some controversy early on around Anish joining with bots, and there being a terms of service and yada yada. But I think for builders watching this, just seeing that the experience and the entertainment value of the thing just so drastically outweighed any of the criticisms that just really didn't find footing. And yeah, I think there's like thinking a lot about sort of how idealism is important in kind of what we're building, and the world I think that we're all trying to build towards, but also how pragmatism is essential to kind of balance that off, and how much we can kind of get in our own way if we think everything needs to be a certain way because of sort of the ideological values it might have. So I just love seeing more people push those edges a little bit. We know kind of a little bit of what Dylan and team are building towards for the next one, which is going to feel, I think, a lot more, I don't know if crypto native, but maybe wild. And I mean, I'm seeing, so what is this?
There can be only one.
Little Highlander action today. I guess if you were voted out, you get to go in and choose the winner today. MFL sort of jumped out as like an interesting subplot here recently. Somebody who was video off all the time. Somebody who was always responding back in poetry form. There's a bunch of threads going around and people talking about them being just an awesome player, etc. But I'm hearing rumors here too. I don't know if this is like is this purely.
I have no idea how founded this is, but it's a fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun consideration.
What is the consideration? I'm hearing that Anish is behind the MFL account. That is the Telegram chat that was forwarded to me that I have zero way of confirming. There we go.
See, and I heard that they're splitting the pot.
See, this is the interesting thing, that just like there's so many layers of gamemanship going on here, and you know, psyop happening. Who knows if that's true or not? Somebody, you know, there's Memecoins being launched to folks. I've been getting DMs from folks advocating for why they should be chosen to win. Just multiple layers of entertainment on top of each other, which I think is wonderful. So I guess we'll find out tonight who the winner is, and maybe there's a great reveal, or maybe somebody has just got a bunch of more ETH in their pocket to go make cool poetry on the internet.
Yeah, love it. I think maybe my last point on this, I was remembering back to Matt Huang's post about crypto as a new planet that he wrote, I think maybe like September last year. And I think it's just like such an effective way to convey this. Like we have new physics that allow new types of like buildings and infrastructure to get built, but we also have a new culture that just needs to be served in distinct ways from Web2 culture. And, you know, Crypto the Game just like spoke our language and designed an experience that was compelling for the types of people that live here. And, you know, sure, it could have been built on Web2, on like the Web2 planet, I guess, in using his language, but, you know, it certainly wouldn't have been as fun. And I think that's just like a great, like, you can just come here and serve this culture. This is it's a new emerging place on the internet. Cool. So yeah, Polymarket bets. I think we can fly through this. I thought it was just funny today. You know, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I always used to get pretty excited about, you know, the prop bets that you could make, because, you know, throughout the season you can just like bet on, you know, standard game outcomes because of like the increased attention and betting volume the Super Bowl attracts. Sportsbook business models allowed it to, you know, work on kind of like weirder prop bets as well. And then I was just like reflecting on like the things I have done in the last couple of months in crypto, just like Memecoins, prediction markets, bet $20 on Fungible to beat the 10 others and won. And it just like the novelty of like Super Bowl prop bets just seems kind of like hilarious now in hindsight, compared to, you know, kind of the like user generated permissionless market creation that we have in crypto. So just thought that was a fun reflection. Yeah, Peace, lightning round. Do you want to bring up I think the Mintstars chart is worth briefly talking about. Jess, you want to jump into this one?
Yeah, Mintstars, you know, they're building an alternative to OnlyFans, one that sort of helps to get around the challenges of deplatforming and from payment providers, et cetera. And, you know, we worked with this team through our last batch, and they've been, you know, really grinding it and unlocking some of the barriers around the technology, and really spending a lot of time in the weeds, bringing in creators. I think, you know, why we were so excited about backing this team was that Jessica really comes from this sex worker advocacy point of view. She has a sort of a deep respect and appreciation for the people, you know, behind, you know, that are using these platforms, and also it's just very clear that platforms like OnlyFans are very, you know, and Web2 platforms generally are very challenging for these individuals to actually go and build businesses on. And on one part, they're getting deplatformed, and the other, there's these huge fees that are taken, and you know, it isn't really a human-centric sort of network. And Mintstars has really built their brand around that, around her work and around the early recruiting they've done there. And there was some news that came out around OnlyFans last week that was sort of political, that I think drove a whole lot of a large exodus from that platform, and they're finding their way to Mintstars. So spent a bunch of time last weekend with the team as they're trying to you know, deal with the growth. These charts are continuing to grow, and it's just really interesting to see, I think, how these things start to emerge, where really there's these inciting moments where people realize that the places they're using really aren't being built for them and aren't valuing them as human beings. And I think, you know, in the long run, we're really going to see more and more of those moments happening. And I think it's going to lead to a lot of the growth that we'll see in sort of Web3 social and these sort of alternative platforms, and, you know, being able to represent your users as owners and as sort of real human beings that you value in these networks, I think is going to be a big thing that drives adoption. So congrats to the Mintstar teams for hustling, and I think there's a lot more growth in their future.
Yeah, and I think this is just like how founding consumer products goes, right? It's like, you know, you're grinding, you have some vision, you're confident, you're building in a big market, you're confident that, you know, there's a tipping point coming. You don't see it, you're building, and then something hits, and next thing you know, the product's getting pulled out of you, the market cares, everyone's paying attention. Same thing we're seeing with Farcaster, right? Like 5-6 years of just like thoughtfully building, slowly doing the right things. Now it's popping off, and their daily active user chart is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So
it's very, very beautiful. All right, we got to the lightning round again. Applications for SEO 7 are open. Josh and I are going to be in New York next week, so if you're out that way, hit us up. We put all of the previous episodes, the videos of Internet Explorers up on Zora, so you can go collect those today if you are so inclined. Continue to put all of our media on chain and more of what we do on chain. And yeah, if you're hanging out on Farcaster, we got a couple channels we're putting a bunch of attention into. Obviously, our Seed Club channel, but we also spun up a consumer crypto channel where we'll be dropping the room that we just launched with Party there, so you can come in. Let's see what we maybe have some fun with that. We also have a test flight club channel. See, I almost got through the whole thing. Test flight club channel that we haven't done anything with yet, but we'll have some future plans with. So come hang out with us over on Farcaster. Energy is heating up. And as always, you can collect this episode on pods.media live within the chat. And appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us today. Never a dull moment. I feel like the moment that we can effortlessly get through all the topics that are happening in consumer crypto in a week, I think is long past us. And I expect we'll have more and more to talk about in the weeks to come.
Love it. Have a good weekend.
Thanks folks on the internet.